I had posted something on Colin Kaepernick, and I said this guy is kind of a douche. He whatever. I said I just didn't really agree with where he was going with it, and I didn't agree and won't agree with any movement, regardless of whose color it is, if it's white, black, or whatever, that's going to separate people and divide people even more, because that's what's going on. And what we're seeing is using social platforms as guerrilla warfare for the powers that shouldn't be. They are trying to divide people and get them fighting with one another. And it's the oldest trick in the book, to get the masses fighting with one another so that they can be more easily controlled. And everybody is being duped, and they're falling for it, and they're falling into slippery slopes like this. And my sister, unfortunately, is a prime example. And I'll say this with all honesty and from the bottom of my heart: when you choose sides, be very, very careful, okay? That's why I say I stand in the middle of everything, and I don't necessarily have to agree with somebody. I don't have to disagree. I will respect that person for whatever belief they have, whatever way they want to go with it, unless it's hateful. And I did this little social experiment to see what would happen. And out of all people, I got some, positive feedback. I got some negative feedback, but I got some really harsh negative feedback from my sister, saying that I apparently am a racist now because I don't stand for a movement that has lost its message in translation. And unfortunately, my sister is one of these people that has been duped by the propaganda machine. And I know that I wasn't going to say, oh, I'm trying to keep this based in recovery, but it's really got me just so irritated. And when I got this message from her, she said, go down to Florida with your white power, blah, 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 and don't ever call me again, lose my number. I've got enough assholes in my life. All because I posted something from Tom Morello, the guitarist from Rage Against the Machine, who is mixed, okay, and is not a conservative, but goes over some very solid facts, because not only is he an awesome-ass guitarist, but he's got a master's degree from Harvard, okay, Harvard, people, Harvard, in political science. And I posted this, and he goes over some facts, which, by the way, has been removed from social media. And he just went off on me. And I'm just like, this is exactly what I'm talking about. I don't want to be a part of this hate, this separation, this division, this movement that everybody is falling for. And I'm sorry, I say everybody loosely, that a lot of Americans are falling for, because what this comes down to that we struggle with as addicts and alcoholics is fear. Fear, uncertainty, and all these other things that even if you're not dealing in recovery, I think being in recovery, you may have a little bit of an upper hand in all of this, because we are learning how to process our feelings and emotions in a better, more constructive way. Well, people that aren't necessarily I don't care if it's recovery from a broken ankle or whatever, that aren't in some kind of recovery, really are not processing their thoughts, feelings, emotions in per se the best fashion, and it's coming across as anger, uncertainty, pointing fingers, making people take sides, and making everyone feel alienated from one another. Mm-hmm. It's scary, bro. It is scary.
I like what you said there about people in recovery, because that is true, and not everybody in recovery, because that's just not possible, but for people who have been at it for a while and get it, we know that there's only so much we can control, and we can't control what other people do unless you got some like duct tape or something, and a knife or something. But that, we can't control what other people do. And we learn, and it's hard, to learn to process situations in our minds sometimes before we speak or before we blurt it out or before we post on social media. But you're right, the people that aren't practicing this daily, they have no clue. They think, well, I'm not a drunk, I don't care. But,
right.
they're the ones doing the damage. And again, Rob, we can't control what they do. We can warn people. I think that's what you're trying to do is just say, hey, be more mindful of what you can control. If you don't like racism, don't be racist. But, me walking down the street, with signs saying don't be a racist isn't going to make the person who's racist change his ways. It's going to make him go out with signs saying I can be a racist. I'm a GD American. And, it's just like, come on, man. Like, is that the way we're going to do it? I don't know. And you take somebody who's raised that way. Is it wrong for him? That's how he was raised. Maybe he was in the sticks in Arkansas somewhere. Who knows? You don't know how that person was brought up, how that person was raised, how that person was taught. Mind control is a big thing. You can have kids out in the fields in Oklahoma somewhere and tell them, like, you ever seen the movie The Village?
Is that the one where they are these weirdos are dressed up in like red sashes with masks on or whatever, and they come out at night and like
with M. Night Shyamalan wrote it or whatever, directed it, put it out. Guy, yeah. And so they're like in like this. You would think it was early America, like early America. And then you find out, no, it's right now. It's just that's how they're raising their people, and they bought this land, and they paid the government not to fly over with airplanes and blah 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 blah. That could still happen. It probably does happen, and hell, it could be happening here in America, Rob. We don't really know what's going on in the world. Have you ever been to China?
Right? No.
I've seen stuff on TV. Oh, who controls that? And it's the same thing that, oh no, that's what China does to their people. Oh, okay, so what? Really? So why'd you take Rob's post down? Like that stuff. That's stuff China does. And so I don't really know, but all I know is I can't control any of that. All I can do is my recovery is not drink today. I try not to get too worked up about, the things that I can't control. Now I see things and it just makes me shake my head. And I did post and I got warned by Facebook, if I do it again, whoa. Because somebody had posted some video of somebody and it was just some, I don't know. I just put on there, oh, that's just white trash, or I called him redneck. I think I was just like, oh, that's white trash, like that's white trash at its finest. And they were like, yeah, that's a hateful term and slang, and okay. But then I see a buddy of mine, and he's African American, but he's throwing the N-word around like left and right, and I'm like, wait a minute, like how come I can't say white trash?
No, I know. It's double talk, man. It's double talk, and that's what I'm saying. That's why, this is all leading to confusion. Like I said, it's guerrilla warfare on a social media platform. It's divide people, divide and conquer. It's divide people, get them fighting with one another, add confusion into the mix, and people don't even know what the hell they're even standing for anymore.
Yeah,
and so. And like you were saying, it's like, well, you can say this, you can't say this, you can say this, you can't say this. Well, and it goes to show you, certain things are being censored and certain things aren't. And it's really just incorporating this into a recovery mindset is incorporating fear and uncertainty, which is being manifested as anger and pointing a finger, which is that's just the way, the human mind works, whether you are in recovery or not in recovery, or maybe should be in recovery and just don't want to be, or just an everyday straight edge that's never done anything. It's really, really unfortunate. And, like you said, feeling powerless to do anything about it. And this is where I have gotten some kind of serenity, dude. is just looking at everything that's going on and being like, holy crap. You know, there's only so much I can do, and there's only so much I can't do. And unfortunately, I can't control very much. The only thing I can control is how I respond, how I react, and how I think. And coming to terms with, you know, just because the whole world is set on fire around me, it's hard to ignore, but that doesn't mean I have to be, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, man. Like I said, dude, it's just, it's really messed up when, the lines are being blurred and confusion set in, and, you know, being in recovery, you're like, damn, you know, this, if only, and honest to God, a couple of days ago when I got that post from my sister, I was just like, fuck this, whatever, I need a drink. You know,
oh, no.
I didn't.
Yeah. But yeah, and I can see you because you get very worked up and very emotional, and you know, I think that's something that you're working on, and there's nothing wrong with getting worked up or emotional. It's just how the whole I need a drink, that feeling's gonna happen. You know, it's how you deal with it. You know, I think is the major part, and the fact that you didn't drink, that's awesome. But I know when I reached out to you, I think you were kind of in the middle of that, and I was like, "Hey, man, podcast on Saturday," and you're like, "Yes, I need it, man. I need a therapy session or something like that." And you know, I was like, "Perfect." Right. You know, you can only control what you can control, and that's unfortunate. You know, obviously, my thing is like with my brother, he hates Trump. I don't talk to him about Trump. I don't talk to my mom about Trump. I don't want to hear it from him. Not that I like Trump. Now he can buy my vote in November, but I mean, just keep it coming. Just keep it coming. You know, July 25th doesn't have to come, but well, I mean, it does have to come. But you know what I'm saying. But yeah, so I mean, but I'm indifferent. You know, I don't get worked up over that kind of stuff because I can't control what Donald Trump's going to do today. I can't control nothing that I can do is ever going to do anything that's going to make Donald Trump do anything. So I just kind of go with that, you know, and, you know, what I can do is I can vote, you know, if I really cared and was really passionate about it, you know, I could get out there and I could get behind a candidate and just go out there and hit the streets for him. But I don't like politics that much. I like recovery that much. So I'm out doing recovery things, but maybe just take from that and don't talk to her about politics. And I know it's kind of hard when you're like, well, I didn't talk to her. I posted on Facebook and then she blows up my stuff. And, you know, maybe just kind of have an understanding with her. Like, look, you know, we're on different sides of this fence, but we're still family. And obviously you can't pick your family as they say. And, you know, you don't want that issue dividing you and your family. You know, it's like, wait a minute.
No. Yeah, and that's the thing. And I've got my neighbor's dog barking her head off. She's a 2-year-old German Shepherd, so I'm gonna go in the front yard. But that's the thing too, man. Is that I mean, it's come down to that where she didn't even give me a chance to, or even ask, did I misinterpret this here?
Are you breaking into your neighbor's house, Rob?
Hush, all right? Damn.
Here, eat this steak.
But,
yeah. Just here for the TV.
Right, dude. Yeah. Never suspect a neighbor. No. But, you know, never got a chance to really, you know, say, hey, Kelly, I think you just did this. You know, maybe she could have just said, hey, just don't post this kind of stuff or whatever. Or if you do, whatever, I don't want to see it, which is fine. And I would have been like, you know what, Kelly, that is completely respectable. However, Kelly, this was part of a social experiment, so you passed with flying colors. And yes, I'm the one that's grading it because I'm the one that came up with it. Instead, she failed it miserably and did what I thought a lot of people would do.
And, you know, that's called trolling, I think, and you kind of wanted that kind of reaction from some people, and that's what the experiment was, and